Welcome to the Chronicles of a Cheating Wife channel. A new story every day. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm holding a cardboard box stuffed with Catherine Thompson sweaters, an old hairbrush, the black heels she wore on our 10th anniversary. I remember the restaurant lights reflecting off the patent leather. Now the shoes rattle around in this box with receipts and photos, dust mixing with the smell of stale perfume. My hand trembles. It feels like I'm carrying the remains of a marriage. Strange how light it all is. I try to set the box down gently on the kitchen table, but the corner catches on my belt, and everything inside tips. A framed picture slides out. It's the two of us in front of our first house, all bright eyes and newly glow. I'm kneeling, holding her close, and she's leaning in with that laugh. Head tossed back, hair bouncing. I slide the photo back in, swallow hard, and force myself not to linger. It's eerily quiet here now. No hum of the TV she'd leave on for background noise. No faint pop music from her phone. Just me and the flicker of the overhead light. My mind's a mess. 1 second I'm raging, the next I'm nauseous. But mostly I'm numb. That's the scariest part. I can't trust any thought that forms in this tornado. I smell her perfume on the edge of a scarf, a sweet floral she was always so proud of. I hate that I still crave that scent, even as my eyes burn with the memory of what she did wearing it. Catherine Thompson, you swore you'd always be honest with me. You lied. I wonder if she's awake right now, in whatever short-term rental she found after I locked her out. Maybe she's on some friend's couch, crying into a pillow, or maybe she's at Jason Marshall's fancy apartment, letting him whisper more lies in her ear. I have no idea where she is. And maybe I don't care. That's another lie I tell myself. I do care. And that's what drives me insane. I've got that photo imprinted in my mind, the one that tore it all open. That cursed snapshot of her at the bar, leaning against the counter, wearing the red dress that now glares at me from the bedroom closet like a mocking presence. She said she'd be out with the girls, that it was just a quick get-together, nothing serious. But I knew something was off. Call it gut instinct, or just a lifetime of reading people. I felt the shift in her voice, the slight hesitation when she said, "Back soon." She tried to sound casual. She's a marketing whiz, after all, knows how to sell anything, including her own alibi. I spent that evening pacing. Couldn't focus on TV or a book or anything. And when she came home at 1 in the morning, reeking of liquor, wearing that outrageous red dress that barely covered her thighs, I asked her how the girls were. She just mumbled something, refused to look me in the eye. Catherine Thompson, you didn't even bother to come up with a believable story. Maybe you thought I'd just swallow it like every other half-truth you've told. Days later, my suspicions turned into cold proof. A friend of mine. No, not a friend, just an acquaintance who happened to be at that club. Snapped a picture. Sent it to me with a cryptic text. "Sorry, man, you need to know." The image was grainy, but I could clearly see Catherine leaning against a mirrored bar, arms around Jason Marshall, a tall guy with that corporate shark grin. And on his left hand, a wedding ring. The reflection in the glass was the damning part. The angle showed them pressed together in a way that left zero doubt. Her hair tumbled over her shoulders, his mouth near her neck. A stolen moment, captured by chance. A single frame that ended my entire worldview. That night I waited for her to say something. Anything. She didn't. So I printed the photo, enlarged the reflection, made it impossible for her to claim innocence. I left it on the kitchen counter next to a cold cup of coffee. I put a note on the door, no forgiveness. And then I watched from the living room window as she came back from grocery shopping the next morning. Watched her face as she saw the sign, the picture, the evidence she couldn't deny. Her scream, her sob, the thud of her knees on the tile. I just stood there, arms folded, looking at the woman I thought I knew, trying to see if anything familiar remained. She hammered on the bedroom door, shouting, "Let me explain." Her voice cracked with desperation. "Harry, open up, please, over and over. I said nothing. Eventually, I heard her slide down against the wall, crying until her voice gave out. I pictured her hugging herself, tears smearing her makeup. But I felt no urge to comfort her, and that terrified me as much as her betrayal. Where was the man who once promised to protect her forever? I didn't break plates or tear up photographs. I didn't throw her clothes onto the lawn. I didn't call her names or curse the day I married her. Instead, I did something worse. I became silent. Silence can be more cruel than any insult, and I gave her all of it. Days of it, echoing in the hollow halls of our home. She begged for another chance. Said she was just drunk, that she was lonely, that it was a mistake. She pleaded for me to talk, to just yell at her if I had to. But I locked myself in my mind and wouldn't let her in. The next day, I changed the locks, told the locksmith not to make a spare. I kept my phone number, though. She could see me living my life without her. Let that be her punishment. At dawn I run. It started as an escape, a way to outrun my thoughts. Now it's a ritual. Each mile is Catherine's name, heavy on my tongue at first, then lighter with each step. I run until my lungs burn, until the early morning light washes over the houses that all look the same in this suburb, until I can almost convince myself that I'm free. On the 5th day of our silent war, I woke up and found a note from her slid under the door. Please, let's talk. I'm sorry. I tore it into strips, not reading past the first sentence. My throat felt tight. Harold Thompson, you're better than this, I told myself, but I wasn't sure if that was true. All I kept thinking was, if she's capable of this, how much of our life was real? Did she ever love me, or was it just the convenience of living with a stable paycheck and an easily manipulated husband? That's the real torment. The question of what was true and what was a lie. The notion that everything we built could vanish because she got bored and found excitement in another man's arms. I remember the night she came home in that red dress vividly. The living room lamp was dim. A faint smell of whiskey rolled off her, and a louder smell of something else. Cologne I didn't recognize. She stumbled on her heels. Each step thudded against the hardwood like a judge's gavel. I asked, "Where have you been?" My tone calm, but inside I was a storm. "Out," she said curtly, not even meeting my gaze. I asked, "With the girls?" She nodded too quickly, dropped her purse on the couch. I noticed her smudged lipstick, the flush on her cheeks. For a second, I wanted to reach out and wipe that smear away like an innocent smear of chocolate. But the color was too bright, too telling. I turned and walked to the bedroom, leaving her alone with her secrets. Next scene. She's on the other side of the bedroom door, voice muffled. "I made a mistake. Harry, open the door. I'm begging you." I press my forehead against the wood. The sense of suffocation is overwhelming. One part of me wants to fling the door open and demand answers, scream in her face, crush her with my fury. Another part, an older, deeper part, wants to hold her and say, "We'll fix this." But I'm paralyzed. The doorknob rattles as she tries to open it. I keep it locked. She sinks down again. I can almost hear her tears hitting the floor. The air is stale with regret. Jason Marshall. I'd heard his name in passing. Some big-shot finance guy, from what she'd said. We never invited him over. At least she never told me we did. Yet he turned into an invisible wedge, prying us apart. He's married, apparently. That ring on his finger in the photo was proof. I guess I should resent him. But in some twisted way, I feel a kinship to that poor woman who's waiting for him at home. She's in the same boat as me. She might not even know. The thought of that makes my stomach turn. Are we both in the dark, or does she also have a stack of damning photos? Some nights, my mind conjures images of them entangled, her in that red dress, him pressing her against a wall, his hands roaming places once sacred to me. It's a torture reel, repeated in the theater of my skull. My chest tightens, my breath becomes shallow, and I want to punch a hole in the wall. But I don't. I just lie there in bed, staring at the ceiling, letting the anger burn through me like acid. Catherine Thompson, did you ever think of me while you let him kiss your neck? It's been 2 weeks since I last spoke to her face to face. 2 weeks of battered silence. She tries to call me sometimes, leaves voicemails. Harry, please, I'm worried about you, or I miss you, or I'm at my parents' house. Can we talk? I don't pick up. I can't. My anger hasn't cooled. If I hear her voice, I'll crack. And I don't know if that crack will let in forgiveness or more hatred. I jog every morning, letting sweat wash away the night's restless dreams. I drive to work, attempt to focus on logistical spreadsheets, shipments, deadlines. Sometimes I catch my reflection in the glass windows at the office, a tall, stooped figure with dark circles under his eyes. A man who once had everything under control and now can't keep a single thought from fracturing. People at work notice I'm not the same. My boss corners me gently, asks if everything's okay at home. I force a polite smile and say, yeah, just a rough patch. They wouldn't understand. They see me as this methodical, capable manager who rarely falters. They don't see the swirling chaos behind my eyes. My performance is slipping. My subordinates approach me with questions I normally could answer in my sleep, and I find myself staring blankly. Catherine used to say I was unstoppable at the office, that I commanded respect. Now I feel like a fraud. Everything I built was anchored in the security I felt at home. With that gone, I'm drifting. I come home to find a single rose pinned to the front door, with a note in her handwriting. We need to talk. Please. Kate. The smell of the rose is surprisingly strong. I stand there for a few moments, letting the cold air nip at my cheeks, my breath forming small clouds. I yank the rose off the door and toss it into the bushes. The note, I slip into my coat pocket without reading further. I'm aware of the neighbors watching from behind curtains. Gossip travels fast in these suburbs. The poor Thompsons, trouble in paradise. Let them talk. Inside, the house is a tomb. The echo of my footsteps on the hardwood floors reminds me how empty it is. I flick on a lamp. A swirl of dust motes circles the bulb, dancing like specks of memories in the stale light. I close my eyes. I can still picture her sitting at the kitchen counter, sipping coffee, smiling at me over the rim of the mug. When I open my eyes, the stool is empty, and the only sign of life is the hum of the refrigerator. That's what I've been reduced to. I decide I need a distraction. I rummage in the bedroom closet, find the old photo album from our early days. My fingers brush each page. Honeymoon pictures in Hawaii, graduation pictures from her marketing degree, me in a cheap suit for my cousin's wedding, her leaning in, shining with pride. I slam the album shut. This nostalgia is poison. I walk to the closet. The door creaks. There's that red dress, the one I now consider a symbol of betrayal. Funny how a single piece of fabric can hold so much power. I feel a surge of anger. I want to rip it to shreds, but I don't. Instead, I yank it off the hanger, ball it up, and toss it in a plastic bag. I put that bag in the trash bin outside. Maybe that's a small victory, but it doesn't feel like it. My hands are shaking. A memory surfaces. The first time I saw Catherine Thompson in red. It wasn't that particular dress, but a blouse at a family gathering. She looked radiant, full of life. She laughed with my mother about something silly, her cheeks glowing. That color used to be my favorite on her. Now it's a cursed sign of everything gone wrong. I rummage through the fridge, find nothing but leftovers and half-empty containers. Everything's been neglected lately. I realize I've lost weight. My belt is on a tighter notch. Food just doesn't appeal to me. The only thing that seems to fill me is anger, and even that's starting to feel hollow. I slam the fridge shut and stand there, heart thudding in my ears, feeling the cool breeze from the vent brush past my ankles. I sense her absence everywhere. In the silence, in the dust, in the empty dining chair. The overhead light flickers. Great, now the bulb is dying too. It's nearly midnight when I decide to check my phone. 20 missed calls. 9 from unknown numbers, probably her using friends' phones, and 1 from her direct cell. A text. I understand if you hate me. I hate myself. Please, let me talk to you. Another. Staying at my parents'. They want to reach out. I told them not to. I'm so sorry. I toss the phone on the couch, rub my face with both hands. My breath comes in short gasps. I realize my chest is tight again. The living room spins for a moment. I force a slow inhale, counting to 5, then exhale. The wave passes. My anger recedes into numbness. Is this the rest of my life? Avoiding phone calls, ignoring texts, living alone with ghosts. I remember the last time we truly laughed together. It was a silly moment in the car. She tried to lip sync to an 80s ballad, messing up every lyric. We ended up in hysterics at a red light. It felt so real. Now I question if any of that was genuine. The constant replay of doubt is an unending torture. A few days later, I see Jason Marshall for the first time in person. It happens by accident. I'm exiting the gym early in the morning, sweat still dripping from my forehead. There he is in the parking lot, stepping out of a black SUV, pressing his phone to his ear. My heart rate spikes. He's exactly how he looked in that photo. Tall, well-groomed, wearing an expensive suit even at dawn. He glances in my direction, and something flickers in his eyes. Recognition. Or maybe guilt. I stand there, fists clenching and unclenching. The door from the gym closes behind me, a burst of warm, sweaty air rushing out. The cool morning breeze hits my neck. Our gazes lock. He doesn't say a word. Neither do I. But I see his posture stiffen. He opens his mouth, maybe to greet me or offer some lame explanation. I turn and walk away. My entire body shakes. Part of me wants to tackle him right there, pound my fists into that smug face. But I walk, because some battered moral code in me says this isn't how it ends. He calls out, "Look, man." His voice echoes across the nearly empty lot. I keep walking. The thud of my sneakers on the pavement drowns out whatever else he might have said. I climb into my car, slam the door, and grip the steering wheel until my knuckles go white. I see him in the rearview mirror, staring after me. When I get home, my nerves are shot. I can't stop replaying that moment. The morning light on his face, the faint cologne drifting in the cool air. That face bent over my wife's neck. My chest constricts. I punch the couch cushion repeatedly, cursing. And then, as quickly as the rage flares, it fizzles into a heavy despair. I slump to the floor, gasping for breath. Catherine Thompson, this is the man you risked our entire life for. I try to keep my routine. I go to work. I come back. I run. I shower. I stare at the bedroom walls. I barely sleep. My mind is stuck in a loop of questions. One stands out. Why wasn't I enough? The sense of inadequacy gnaws at me. I recall all those nights I stayed late at the office, thinking I was providing a better life for her. Did I neglect her needs? Did I fail to see her loneliness? Then I remember the photo, the reflection of his hand on her waist, that wedding ring glinting. No, this isn't on me. She chose to cross that line. But the doubt doesn't let go. It whispers that maybe I drove her away. And that whisper is sometimes louder than my anger. One night, I dream that she comes home in the red dress, only it's torn at the hem. She's barefoot, mascara running down her cheeks, arms outstretched for me. She says nothing, just sobs. And I hold her, bury my face in her neck, inhaling that familiar perfume. She melts into me. I whisper, "Catherine Thompson, don't ever leave." She says, "I never did." Then I wake up alone, drenched in sweat, my pillow damp with tears I refuse to admit are mine. Finally, The day comes when she finds a way into the house despite the changed locks. She must have borrowed a key from the neighbor or something. I'm not sure. It's late afternoon. I'm at the dining table with my laptop open, trying to force my attention on a work spreadsheet. The door creaks. I look up. She steps in, wearing plain jeans and a sweater, hair pulled back. No red. She looks smaller somehow, like a shadow of the vibrant woman I married. I stand abruptly, chair scraping the floor. My voice is raw. You're not supposed to be here. She sets down a small bag, trembling hands. I'm sorry. I just needed to see you. I stare at her, anger coiled in my gut. You lost that privilege. She flinches. Harry, please. Let me. Don't call me that. My voice is sharp. Don't say my name like we're fine. She clamps her mouth shut. Tears pool in her eyes. The room feels too bright, the sun glaring through the blinds, illuminating her face. I see every detail. The dryness on her lips, the new lines under her eyes. She looks exhausted. Good. Catherine Thompson, I say slowly, savoring the formality. We have nothing left to discuss. She presses her hand to her mouth, swallowing a sob. I can't live like this. I clench my fists at my sides. Should have thought of that before you climbed into another man's bed. Her face twists in anguish. It wasn't. We didn't. She stops, shakes her head. I kissed him. It's true. And maybe more. But it wasn't about him. It was about. I laugh, bitter and hollow. Don't even try. She tries to step closer. I hold up a hand, stopping her. You came here to do what? Beg for forgiveness. Confess. Apologize again? Her voice cracks. Yes. All of it. I see her tears glistening. But my heart is stone. I don't care anymore. She stumbles back a step, as though struck. Please, let me talk. Let me explain how I felt. You shut me out for so long. You were always at work, always distant. I was lonely. I know it's not an excuse, but I slam my palm on the table, rattling the laptop. So it's my fault. She shakes her head frantically. No, I'm not blaming you. I'm just trying to say. Stop. My throat burns. You took everything we had and threw it away. You think some half-baked excuse makes this better. She sobs into her hands. The air feels thick. My heartbeat pulses in my ears. I want to stay angry, but a flicker of pity seeps in. I stuff it down. You need to leave. My voice is low. There's nothing here for you. She stares at me, heartbreak etched on her face. Harry, I love you. I made the worst mistake. No. The word echoes off the walls. That word means nothing coming from you now. She wipes her tears with the back of her sleeve. What do you want me to do? I bite back the rush of words. Suffer. Hurt. Feel what I feel. Instead, I keep it simple. Go. She trembles. I have nowhere. Not my problem. I cut in. My chest tightens with guilt for being so cold. But the memory of that picture, that red dress, steals me. Catherine Thompson, you made your bed. Now lie in it. She picks up her bag, tears rolling silently. For a moment, I think she might drop to her knees again. But she just nods in defeat and slips out the door. It closes behind her with a soft click. I exhale a breath I didn't realize I was holding. My vision blurs, but I don't cry. I don't cry. The next morning, the neighbors watch as I drag a large cardboard box, filled with more of her things, to my car. Maybe they think I'm returning them to her. Maybe they think I'm just doing some spring cleaning. I can almost taste the pity in their stares. I drive to a self-storage facility and rent a small unit. I place the box inside, along with other reminders. Photos, souvenirs, the plates we bought on vacation. One by one, I pack away the life we shared. The echo of the metal door slamming shut resonates through my bones. It's as if I'm entombing our history. As I leave, A wave of nausea hits. I lean against the car for a moment, gulping air. The sky is a dull gray, a cold wind snapping at my jacket collar. My reflection in the car window looks older, more worn. I feel a surge of emptiness so vast it nearly swallows me. On the third week, she tries again to contact me, this time from a new number. Her text: "Can we talk for 5 minutes? I have something important to say." I ignore it. She tries again, leaving a voicemail. "Harry, please, don't hang up, just listen. I'm not with him. I never was. It was a stupid mistake. I'm sorry. I want you to know I'm leaving Chicago. I can't stay here. I just want you to hear me out before I go. Please." I don't respond. My mother calls me that evening, says Catherine Thompson spoke to her. She's concerned. She says Catherine sounded desperate. I grind my teeth, wanting to yell at my mom for letting Catherine dump her sob story, but I can't do that. My mother's innocent in all this. She's been trying to apologize. Mom says gently over the phone, "Maybe you should hear her out." "You might." I cut her off. "No. Mom, please stay out of this." A strained silence. "All right, son," she says finally. "But I'm worried about you." And about her. "I'm fine." I lie. I press end call. Heart pounding. A memory. The date I changed the locks. I placed the new keys in my pocket with a sense of grim satisfaction. The old ones sat on the kitchen counter, useless. She had looked at them with dread. "Harry, you can't shut me out forever," she said, tears brimming. I didn't answer. I just watched her gather a few clothes, stuff them into a bag, and walk out. She paused at the threshold, turned as if she had more to say. My silence answered her. That final click of the door was both relief and heartbreak, and I've been living with the echo ever since. The next week passes in a fog. My runs are the only thing that keep me going. I push myself harder. Longer distances, faster pace. Each mile I chant her name in my head, then reject it. It's a strange punishment for myself, reliving the betrayal step by step. Yet it's cleansing in some twisted way. My ankles ache, my lungs burn, but I keep going until I can't think of anything except the next breath. At work, I'm told I have unused vacation days. My supervisor suggests I take them. I know why. My performance is slipping, and I'm a liability right now. Fine. So I take a week off. No plan, no place to go, just me at home in a silent battle with my thoughts. I rearrange furniture in the living room, trying to exorcise her presence. She always wanted the couch near the window. I move it to the other side. The difference is minimal, but at least it feels like I'm reclaiming territory. I find an old bottle of whiskey in the cabinet, left over from a holiday party. I consider pouring a glass, but something stops me. Maybe I'm afraid of what I'll become if I start drinking alone. That's the same night I find the folder on my laptop with pictures from our anniversary trips. I nearly delete them all in a fit of rage, but I can't. Not yet. So I store them on an external drive, stashed in a drawer. Out of sight, but not gone. And I realize that's how I feel about her. Out of sight, but not gone. Eventually, the day arrives when she calls me again. I'm about to tap decline when a sudden urge makes me pick up. My voice is quiet. Yes? I hear her inhale sharply. "Harry." "Oh God," you answered. I swallow, my throat tight. "What do you want?" A trembling exhale. I'm leaving town. I wanted to hear your voice before I go. I'm so sorry. You have every right to hate me, but I love you. My heart clenches. I can't find words. I hear the traffic in the background. Maybe she's near a highway. "I'm not doing this for you," I finally say. I needed to know if you were okay." She lets out a tearful laugh. "I'm not okay, but I'll survive. I deserve this." I close my eyes. Why? Why'd you do it? A pause so long I think the call dropped. Then, I was lost. I needed something to feel. Alive. And I was an idiot. I thought, I don't know. I can't justify it. A wave of sadness hits me. Well, congratulations. You got your new experience. She sobs. I'd give anything to take it back. My vision blurs with hot tears I refuse to let fall. Too late. I know, she whispers. Harry, I just want you to know that I never stopped loving you. I was foolish. I can't breathe. My chest is locked. I rasp, don't call me again. Then I hang up. The phone slips from my hand. My entire body shakes with the force of suppressed grief. For a moment, I think I'm going to pass out. I sink to the floor and stare at the wall until darkness falls. Days blur into each other. The hush in the house is oppressive. I catch myself looking at the door, half expecting her to walk in with groceries or a bright smile. I keep telling myself that I'm better off alone. That she betrayed me, so she deserves nothing. And maybe that's true. But the loneliness weighs 1,000 pounds. I start sleeping on the couch, the bedroom too full of memories. In the early hours of the morning, I think I hear her voice calling my name from down the hall. I jolt awake, heart pounding, only to find emptiness. A chill creeps through me. I bury my face in my hands, ashamed of how broken I feel. One evening, I decide to drive out, get some fresh air. I end up near the old club where she met him, or at least where that damned photo was taken. The neon lights flicker, and music throbs from inside. I park across the street, watch the line of people waiting to get in. Young folks in flashy outfits, laughter, and possibility. All the energy I lack right now. I imagine her inside, pressed against Jason Marshall. My fists clench the steering wheel. This place is the cradle of my nightmares. I consider going in, confronting my demons. But the idea of stepping onto that dance floor, seeing couples wrapped in each other's arms, is too much. Instead, I peel out of the parking lot, tires screeching. My heart hammers, my veins pulsing with the surge of adrenaline. The city lights blur around me as I drive aimlessly, weaving through traffic. Eventually, I end up on a quiet road by the lake. I park and get out, letting the cold breeze from the water slap my face. Why am I here? Maybe to prove I'm still alive. I lean against the car, watch the moonlight shimmer on the waves. My breath forms small clouds in the night air. I remember our last trip to the coast, how excited she was to see the ocean again. We walked hand in hand along the shore, hearts full of plans for the future. Now all that's left is a deserted beach in my memory. 3 more weeks slip by. My mother calls to update me on some family stuff. My boss asks if I'm ready to come back with my head on straight. I muster some semblance of normalcy and say yes, but inside, I'm hollow. Every day is an exercise in not thinking about Catherine Thompson. And every day, I fail. I wonder where she is, if she really left Chicago. If she's with Jason Marshall or living alone. Part of me hopes she's miserable. Another part hopes she finds peace. Then I hate myself for caring. One night, I'm rummaging in the closet for an old jacket. I come across a notebook of hers. She used to jot down random ideas, to-do lists, recipes. Flipping through it, I find a short note to me. Remember when we promised each other we'd never let routine kill our spark? Let's plan another trip soon. I love you. The date is from about 6 months ago, just after our anniversary. My stomach clenches. That was not long before she started drifting away. I tear the note out, stare at her handwriting. My fingers tremble. I rip it into tiny pieces, letting them scatter on the floor. The sight of the pieces drifting like confetti is oddly final. But the emptiness inside me remains. At some point, I realize I have to do something, anything, to reclaim my life. I can't wallow in this limbo forever. So I call a lawyer, ask about the divorce process. The conversation is grim but clarifying. Terms like marital property, irreconcilable differences swirl in the air. The lawyer's tone is dispassionate, businesslike. It feels so cold to reduce love and betrayal to paperwork and legal jargon. But maybe that's what I need. Some structure, some path out. He asks if I've spoken to her about it. I say, not really. He suggests I do, or at least have her served. My stomach knots at the thought. My lips feel dry. I'll think about it, I say, and hang up. That night, I paced the living room for hours. Scenes flash in my mind. Our wedding day, her radiant smile, my father's proud handshake. The honeymoon, her leaning on my shoulder under a tropical sunset. Our first apartment, tiny, chaotic, full of laughter. Then the bitter recollection of that red dress, her stifled moan as she snuck back in. My fists tighten. My chest hurts like I'm having a heart attack. But I keep pacing, forcing breath after breath. A letter arrives in the mail. No return address, but I recognize the handwriting immediately. My first instinct is to toss it unopened. But I can't. I tear the envelope carefully. Inside is a single page. She writes that she's moving to a different state, staying with a friend until she can get a job. She says she understands I'll never forgive her. She wants me to know she's sorry, that she hates what she did, that she'll sign any divorce papers I send. There's no mention of Jason Marshall. She ends with, I pray you find peace and happiness again. I wish I could take back everything, but I can't. If you ever need me, you have my number. I'll never change it. I love you, Catherine Thompson. My hands shake as I read. Her words stir a swirl of anger, sorrow, and a strange pang of regret. I fold the letter and place it in the box with her belongings. Then I carry that box into the garage and shove it in the corner. I shut off the light and walk away, leaving it to gather dust next to old paint cans. Time crawls forward. My runs become longer, more punishing. At the office, I bury myself in work, staying late just to avoid the empty house. Gradually, I notice I'm able to go hours without thinking of her, then entire days. The wounds remain, but they scab over into numb acceptance. Life goes on, whether I want it to or not. Some nights, I still dream of that red dress, see it fluttering around her ankles as she dances with a man who isn't me. But the vividness fades. I wake up less drenched in sweat. My therapist, yes, I finally saw one, says I'm making progress. She urges me to express my feelings, to let myself mourn. I do, in small increments. Each time, I feel a piece of the weight lift. Months pass. Seasons change. The sun sets later, warming the air. On a quiet Tuesday evening, I find myself sitting on the porch, watching the sky turn gold. I realize I feel calm. Not happy, exactly, but calm. My phone vibrates. A text from a coworker about tomorrow's meeting. I respond promptly, bury any leftover ache. I think about Catherine Thompson. She's probably hundreds of miles away by now. A fleeting image of her crosses my mind. Her laugh, the tilt of her head. I let it come, then let it go. When I stand, I notice a small spider spinning its web near the porch light. A tiny, meticulous process, weaving each strand. Strange how life just keeps building, even after everything collapses. A few days later, I sign the divorce papers. I mail them, no note attached. Just the final step in unraveling the vow we once held sacred. There's an odd pang in my chest as I seal the envelope. Then I drop it into the mailbox and walk away. That night, I sleep deeply for the first time in months. No nightmares, just silence. And in the morning, there's no ache in my gut when I see the empty side of the bed. I keep up with my routine. Run at dawn, shower, work, come home, keep the house in order. Gradually, I start feeling a sense of stability returning. I open windows, let fresh air in, buy new curtains, ones I pick for myself. I shift the furniture again, actually vacuum the rugs, change the light bulbs. The house no longer feels like a tomb. It feels like my space, simpler and quieter. Neighbors still cast me sympathetic glances, but I ignore them. Let them gossip if they want. I'm tired of living by anyone else's narrative. If they ask how I'm doing, I just say, I'm fine. And maybe I'm starting to believe it. One morning, I lace up my running shoes and set out before sunrise. The air is crisp, the sky tinged with pale purple. I pass the old oak trees, the modest suburban lawns. Each footfall on the pavement feels more certain than before. As I hit the 3rd mile, sweat beads on my forehead. My muscles ache, but it's a good ache, an ache that reminds me I'm alive. I whisper to the rhythm of my steps, Catherine Thompson. For so long, that name has been a source of pain. Now I let it roll off my tongue, imagining the letters dissipating into the cool morning air. My heart throbs. I push forward, faster. My lungs burn. The memory of her treachery looms. My chest constricts. For a moment, fury flares. I power through it, lengthening my stride. By the time I reach the 5th mile, the fury has ebbed, replaced by a strange sense of release. She's gone, and I'm still here. I'm going to be all right. That evening, I sit in the living room with a single lamp glowing. A soft breeze floats through the open window, carrying the scent of spring flowers. My phone lies silent on the coffee table. I glance at it, remembering that I never changed my number. Let her see that I'm living. Let her wonder how I'm doing. The irony is, I barely wonder how she's doing anymore. This is my revenge, in a sense, living my life, moving on, becoming stronger, punishing her with the knowledge that she lost me for good. Sometimes I catch myself thinking, what if? But I push that aside. This is reality. She made her choice. So did I. At dawn, I go for my usual run. The sun peeks over the horizon, painting the sky in brilliant gold and rose. I breathe in the new day, each inhale a promise that life continues. My feet pound the pavement, and I feel a surge of energy. I'm running not from pain, but towards something else, my own future. With each stride, I feel a fragment of the old me returning, the man who once believed in a steady, honest life. I finish the run with sweat pouring down my neck. I stand at my front door, chest heaving. The lock I changed months ago gleams in the early light, a symbol of the boundary I set. I step inside, and the silence greets me, but it no longer suffocates me. It's just quiet, peaceful, even. I head to the shower, water streaming over me, washing away the night's lingering tension. My mind feels oddly clear. I think of the box of her things in the garage. Maybe one day I'll burn it, or maybe I'll donate it. For now, it sits there, collecting dust, while I collect myself. After I'm dressed, I pour a cup of coffee and sip it at the kitchen counter. The morning sunlight streams through the window, warm against my face. I close my eyes, letting the aroma and the quiet calm me. A single thought crosses my mind with surprising gentleness. Catherine Thompson, I hope you find peace. I exhale a slow breath, because that's all that's left to say. I glance at the empty stool next to me. I raise my mug in a silent toast. Here's to my new beginning. And here's to you, Catherine Thompson, wherever you are. May you wake up every morning, feeling the weight of that red dress and wondering if it was worth it. Because I'm moving on, and I'm not looking back. I finish the coffee, set the mug down with a soft clink, and walk out the door, locking it behind me. The day feels bright, full of possibilities. My steps are steady on the pavement as I head to my car. When I start the engine, the radio kicks on, a classic rock tune about heartbreak and rising again. I grin bitterly at the coincidence, shift into gear, and drive forward into whatever comes next.